When a baseball team badmouthed Tebow's Christianity, America's response made me proud. Successfully navigating America today includes a labyrinth of political correctness minefields. While they started out with the right idea, let's try and hurt fewer people's feelings, things have gotten a little out of hand lately. Political correctness has become the faceless monster that will come up and grab you when you least expect it and make you feel like a jerk. If you're just a normal person trying to just not get caught in its traps, you might assume that those who are always screaming and sobbing for the fate of the innocent victims of all the hurtful speech really have PC-ness in the bag. However, the more we learn about this shadowy monster, the more we realize that he's mostly just a pawn for the liberal agenda to try and bully people into doing, or not doing, what they say. This was evidenced recently when former NFL star turned MLB player Tebow found out exactly what the opposing team thought about his much-publicized faith. Many think that the opposing team crossed the line trying to mess with Tebow. Via the Blaze. The general manager of the Charleston River Dogs apologized after the minor league baseball team jokingly mocked Columbia Fireflies outfielder Tebow's Christian faith during a 3-game series last week. Dave Eccles told the Post and Courier in Charleston, South Carolina, that his team received staunch criticism, both on social media and during the game, for making fun of Tebow, the former NFL quarterback whose celebrity helped the River Dogs sell out all 3 games of the series, during last Friday's game. While we believe that our promotions were poking fun at Mr. Tebow's celebrity status rather than his religion or baseball career, Eccles said, our intent was not to offend anyone, and for the fact that we did offend, we are sorry. It seems to me that the team of moderately successful baseball players were a bit starstruck when they realized they were going to have a star in their midst and they sort of overreacted. I think most of us would say that we're all for the freedom of a good ribbing, but putting up pictures of someone crying throughout the whole game might be a little much. The Blaze, in an effort to poke fun at Tebow, the River Dogs played the Hallelujah chorus every time the former NFL star was up to bat. And the River Dogs mascot wore eye black featuring the John 3:16 Bible reference, just as Tebow famously did when he played for the Florida Gators. At one point, the Charleston team's mascot even got down on one knee to pray, Tebowing, just like Tebow would during many of his NFL and college football games. The River Dogs also displayed the text "Not Tim Tebow" on the giant video screen every time a Fireflies batter stepped up to the plate. As I mentioned, nobody is saying that they can't throw a little shade at the opposing team, but they weren't throwing it at the whole team, they were throwing it at one person. And specifically, the one person's sincerely held faith. The question I would ask is if they would dare to do this to a person of any other religion. In fact, I'd ask if they would do it to any other religion, gender, race or religion. I could be wrong, but I think Tebow was the intersection of the most unprotected classes in America. He's a well-paid Christian white male. Individually all of those attributes garner criticism, but together, practically a powder keg just waiting for a liberal match. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that any of what they did was illegal or should be outlawed, since it's not. Their actions were completely legal, and monetarily smart, even if it's what their fans wanted. It was a little rude and classless in my opinion, but I was never going to buy a ticket to their game, so I'm really not the target audience. I'd just like to point out the loud and proud double standard that we're seeing here. If he were Muslim they wouldn't have dared, and if he were brown or a woman, or born a woman and decided he wanted to be a man later, this would never have happened. He's a big kid, he can handle it. In fact, he's probably totally okay with it since getting some eyeballs on John 3:16 is what he wanted in the first place. But let's just not pretend that it was fair. It's fair.